You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
"Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?"
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
after Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
"Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music."
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
"Hey, Meta, call Eva."
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.
Just listen.
Good stuff.
And that's a fact.
Now, what did I do wrong?
That's a great setup, Bob.
Big boy's back. There are many, many positives I can get out of this game.
Personal foul. Clipping.
And local. This is 9 to noon on a TCO Tuesday. Yours truly, Paul Allen, at the Minnesota Vikings practice facility in Eagan, Minnesota. Nordo, Eric Nordquist, mad producer of 9 to noon, is at the 651 Carpets Plus studios. And we welcome you to a radio show each and every Tuesday provided by Sukup and Sukup.com. Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. He joins 9 to noon, as he's wont to do on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock. And part of the discussion will be one to go for the one, and the one from whom we need to capture said one is one tough, cocksure hombre. Dan Campbell played them all last night, and they brought some tricks to the San Francisco treat.
There's the snap. Niners rush forward. Goff, quick throw, got it complete. Ooh. And it's a lateral back this time down the right sideline. It is Jameson Williams who's going to walk into the end zone for the touchdown. Pass to Amon-Ra, flipped it back to J-Mo, and J-Mo takes it to the house.
Dan Miller, who will join 9 to noon on Thursday, play-by-play voice for the Detroit Lions on the call from San Francisco. Kitties get the money last night. Campbell played everybody. They got tricks up their sleeves. Well, so there's that. And there's also this.
There's the snap to Jared on third down. Back, looking, throwing, end zone, caught. Touchdown, Detroit Lions, Sam Laporta. What a terrific delivery that time by Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, quarterback for the Detroit Lions, his last 4 games, has thrown for 1,416 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 1 interception. These division-defending Kitties only know one gear. On that Laporta touchdown, by the way, that capped a 12-play, 66-yard, 5-minute, 2-second drive. I mean, it's quarter-consuming. It's short. It's intermediate. It's run. Then it's big boy 8-7 back center of the end zone. I mean, there were stages of the game. They were just showing off. It's like no Montgomery, no problem.
Goff wants the snap, hands it to Gibbs. Outside right, he's got the first down and more. 25-20, 15-10, 5, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs on third down and 2, breaks it for 30, and the Lions have a 2-score lead on the board.
And the Detroit Lions secured victory 14 last evening, despite an on-charging presence with whom we are familiar.
Dobbs back, runs away from pressure. He can run for the front pylon of the end zone, and he'll take it all the way to the goal line and get in. Touchdown, Joshua Dobbs.
Here we go. Dobbs. Dobbs. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Dobbs!
Da-da-da-da-da.
Dobbs!
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Dobbs?
Dobbs. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Quite well. These Lions only know one gear.
Yeah.
40 points on the road ain't easy. All right, so there's that. So I know we have no Greenlaw. Yeah, I know Bosa gets nicked up. Winters playing out of his mind. Best game of his career. He gets nicked up. Watch the whole thing like many listening right now.
Yeah.
Including Nordo. But 40 points on the road, that's not easy to achieve. I'm like, dang. And as the tricks go, okay, we got the lateral to Jamison Williams. And then you had some other tricks. One didn't work. But there's always something new with the Detroit Lions offense each time I have the privilege, and it is a privilege to watch the Detroit Lions play. I mean, this ain't Thursday night football with Softy's team hanging 6 and Wobble's team hanging 3. And as Lavelle Neal III, columnist for the Star Tribune, negotiates the east side roads to get to Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center, he's probably wondering how he just caught a stray. Well, yours truly has no idea, but what I do know is the new that we saw last night, they ran multiple plays with 7 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got 70, the beefeater skipper. Now they got this other guy they bring in, 7 offensive linemen, and of course they run behind it, and good morning.
Good morning. And if you thought the border battle, for multiple reasons, being the emotionally invested and ultimately an emotionally exhausting victory for the Purple, freaking buckle up on Sunday night at Ford Field. Just watching this game, Niners are out of it, 6-win operation, everybody's hurt, whole thing, and you laid out a fair amount of it specifically with the defense. The first 5 freaking possessions by either team last night was a touchdown. And even given it's Purdy to Kittle, it's Purdy to Juwan Jennings. Like the Niners were dropping a ton of points early on the Kitties. And even it could have been 6 consecutive possessions before the Lions were stopped on a 4th and 3 at the Niners' 8-yard line. So it was a bonanza last night. They start the second half similarly. Each team exchanges a touchdown. They settle for a kick. The Lions do. Then Purdy gets loose with a pick, and it goes south for San Francisco in the Bay. But that's what I took away from it. Is this is truly the way that we've talked about Sam Darnold at his zenith, the way that we've spoken of this offense and what this scheme can be truly when everything's running on all cylinders. I believe this team, these Vikings, can drop 40 on the Lions Sunday night. But I think we might also need 40. The creativity by Ben Johnson on a week-by-week basis. You mentioned the new that is happening every single week.
7 offensive linemen, they ran behind it, and it worked.
It's the magician at your kid's school, and the multicolored silk cloth just doesn't stop coming out of the jacket. You can't believe that there's any more room in that sleeve, and it just keeps on being pulled out. It is truly unbelievable. It deserves all the reverence and respect. There's no doubt about it. But this is, again, as exhausting, I think, as the border battle was on Sunday. Vikings coming out on top, sweeping the pack. We love all of that. Mm-hmm. I think that this, in any way that we were talking yesterday about pacing ourselves into this game, right. I don't think any aspect of this thing on Sunday can be overstated. This is going to be a heavyweight title fight, all records, the division, playoff seeding in tow on the Sunday night game. This is going to be amazing, one way or the other, PA.
I have something for Gessling, the scribe, when he joins at 10 o'clock, 10:03ish. I'll share it now.
Okay.
That there's one facet of this game that absolutely positively has to matter. And as elite football minds, and yes, everybody listening now are of the elite football mind variety. You are 9 to noon raised. You are 9 to noon devotees, and this is the Elite Football Mind Covenant. So you know exactly what I'm talking about when you see Melifonwu, when you see Kendall Vildor, when you see Amik Robertson playing more plays than he's ever played in his life, when you see Trevor Nowaski and Ben Neiman as the linebackers playing nickel and maybe dime if Campbell needs a break. and defensive linemen who are not Aiden Hutchinson and or Aleem McNeil. All right, so we all saw the same thing. Here's what has to matter: the Vikings come into this game with every preferred defensive player they desire, every single one. Pace, Cashman, your defensive line rotation is good. With all due respect to Taki Taimani, Jalen Redmond replaced him and probably is not giving that job back, even though Taimani got hurt.
Taimani.
Yeah, you got Taimani. Taimani and Taimani again. Great Cyndi Lauper song. All right, 3-2. You have Gilmore, Griffin, Murphy. You got Metellus, Bynum, Hitman. You got all your tricks. I mean, your edge guys. Pat Jones. Got good news on him yesterday. They have 6 guys starting who probably are preferred starters for them. I don't have the scribe sheet in front of me, but top of the head, it's Reeder, Campbell, Terry and Arnold, Branch, Kirby Joseph, and Zadarius Smith. So those 6 there, and Zadarius wouldn't even be on the team unless they had all these injuries.
Correct.
But nevertheless, he's part of the bit. So they got 6 of their preferred defensive starters. We have 11. And that has to matter in this game for at least 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 possessions where you score, stop, let's play.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because that has been the story of the success of this team. Is it's early advantage for our favorite football team. We saw in the initial matchup, it was not score, stop. It was score. We get stopped. They get ahead. We needed that Ivan Pace fumble return to get that lead back before they ultimately find the field goal. That marriage and complementary aspect of the Vikings and Flores and his work combining with KO, that has to matter, and that starts with us being healthy. As we were all fretting over the head coach, I'm going to play my guys. I know what's on the line. We're going to do our thing. We're going to play Lions football. And then he goes out and actually does it. And Kirby Joseph has 2 picks. They were super physical all game. They didn't take guys out at half. Like that was one heck of a performance last night. We need to respond in kind and celebrate this health by taking advantage of it on Sunday.
Now, Dan Campbell, in closing for this segment, before Nordo's trick he has hidden up his sleeve, and it's of the musical variety. Dan Campbell, head coach for the Detroit Lions, said after the game about Sunday and the final game of the NFL's regular season. It's ballyhooed, NBC's Football Night in America, KFAN, Florio on the field, oh goody, the whole thing. He said, this is fairy tale stuff. So then I'm thinking, all right, if it's fairy tale stuff, maybe it's like Charles Perrault's Little Red Riding Hood, where Grandma and Little Red Riding Hood get eaten by a wolf in this fairy tale. We are the wolf. They are Grandma. So let's put a sad ending to Dan Campbell's fairy tale stuff. And by the way, go ahead and get one of those fingers on murmur. Fingers on murmur.
Ready?
Okay, 3-2. Jake Bates, though.
Oh my gosh. Above average at that.
He's their kicker. 0 for 2 on field goals, 1 for 2 on extra points. Their kicker's coming up soft at the wrong time. That Lions defense, 475 allowed, 400 passing yards, 7.9 yards per play. The Niners, sans McCaffrey, sans Ayuk is on fire. 5 for 5 in the red zone. Let's play.
Hell yes.
All righty. With a new year comes a new opportunity to open eyes and ascend to greatness. It's time to beat the Detroit Lions. Nordo, take it from here.
Indeed. In the New Year's melody of Auld Lang Syne, we wish a new year specifically to Vikings fans with those Kitties in mind. Dear Skull, we seek to exorcise all the ghosts of moments past. Missed kicks and bad picks, sad demise. Nothing gold could truly last. Could one hold
a single game. Oh, such a feeling can't be bought as to see the lions tamed. Can we stop an offense striking fear in our hearts and all sane minds? Perhaps the better question here, can their injured bunch stop thine? Great coaching defines excellence. We have ours and they have theirs. O'Connell's plan, shall it commence? Aaron Glenn will need your prayers. Picture Sam to Jefferson in the slot. Addison, well, he's popping tags, while fans at Ford Field taking shots wish they still wore their paper bags. But surely times they haven't changed. These are not the same old lions, but the sounds of cheers in solemn vein as Motown goes home crying. Two teams with visions of the ring, few more apt or more adroit, but if only for 1 week we sing pound sand to all of Detroit.
Vikings Entertainment Network, Alex Miller, Jordan Struck, Curly Harris, everybody. Hey, how about that? Kay Jager's like, what about me? Hey, I got old Lang Syne.
Happy New Year's, Vikings fans. Let's go.
Indeed. Well done. Thank you very much for that. And, all right, so who's Christian Mahogany, a rookie offensive lineman from Boston College, and how all of a sudden has he entered the chat? I mean, 7 offensive linemen on plays. Christian Mahogany, who the heck is he? And how all of a sudden is he in the mix? And on the game calling depth chart next to the extra offensive lineman, Dan Skipper. Perplexing. 9 to noon, courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck includes Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell at 11 o'clock and Lavelle Neal III, columnist for the Star Tribune. He's ballyhooed. He will join 9 to noon. On air, on site, on demand, and on fire from Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center. That's around the corner. Sukup and Sukup.com. We are manufacturing a good one for you today. Thank you very much for listening to everybody. And an early Happy New Year to everybody from yours truly, Paul Allen and Nordo, who mad produces 9 to noon. And this is KFAN.
Head over to NFLShop.com for the largest collection of officially licensed gear from all your favorite brands. NFL Shop is your ultimate gifting destination for jerseys, t-shirts, headwear, and more. Take your game day style to the next level with the best selection of NFL gear anywhere. Show off your team pride this holiday season with styles fit for the whole family. To shop now, go to NFLShop.com.
TCO Tuesday, and before we jump back to TCO Studios in Eagan, I do want to remind you, around 11 a.m. today, head coach Kevin O'Connell is going to join PA for their weekly sit-down. Looking forward to that. on a week like this, it's going to be amazing. But I want to give you listeners the opportunity and remind you that we always play a talkback via the free iHeartRadio app from a listener. So if you want to jump in, use the free iHeartRadio app. There's a microphone next to the play stop button. You see that microphone? You can record up to your best 30 seconds. A question for the head coach. Please include your name. And we will play one of those during that chat, early 11 a.m. hour with Kevin O'Connell.
Courtesy of Allery's Bar and Barbecue, home of free parking and wild shuttles. Here comes the columnist. He's Lavelle Neal III. He's a columnist for the Star Tribune. Yes, he's ballyhooed. At Lavelle Neal via the tweet machine. If you would like to follow him, as 9 to noon does. And we'll begin like this. The Lions last night. I know you caught a majority of the game, but all of the second half. I'll just lay it out like that. The Lions last night. What did you think? And good morning.
I tell you what, Dan Campbell, he's liable to actually suit up on Sunday against the Vikings and block on a field goal or something. Mm-hmm. He is the most unpredictable man in the game of football. There's nothing to play for in that game. Who cares about revenge factor? Apparently he did. He's already got a banged up team. He used 13 different linebackers during the regular season. He still threw his best punch at the 49ers yesterday. You don't know you don't know what's coming with this guy. And they used the hook and ladder play during the damn game.
Right.
Something that don't you want to keep that in your back pocket for the postseason?
Bruh, and it was smooth. I mean, it's like then Shanny, next level Shanny's like, okay, you got that trick, watch my trick. He's going to have Pearsall throw. And nobody was open. He threw it out of bounds, but it was kind of wonky with the handoff and the flip.
Right.
No, not the hook and lateral. That thing was smooth, so smooth. Laporta was setting up for his block before the pitch took place.
I know. It happened so quickly too. It was almost just like a quick handoff. It was a beautiful thing. So man, these Lions, just be ready for anything on Sunday because they're not going to hold back. And the fact that they went into San Francisco and do what they did, that's also a signal to the Vikings. Like, you better pack a lunch, boys.
Yeah,
because we're coming.
Well,
you're coming to us.
The Minnesota Vikings have a high-end offense. So just follow me here as I build this thing. Fair to say the Minnesota Vikings have a high-end offense, yes or no? And no's not going to offend me. Okay. Well, a higher-end passing game within the high-end offense, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now you go to the Kitties. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, Tim Patrick, they're Jalen Naylor, but they play differently, and Jahmyr Gibbs. All right. So if you're Kevin O'Connell or a member of the Minnesota Vikings and you're having like a straight conversation about something, and you say the Lions have the best offense in the NFL, Goff plays behind the best offensive line in the NFL, Jahmyr Gibbs is becoming one of the best running backs in the NFL, it would be wrong to take offense to praising somebody saying that's the best offense in the NFL the Vikings are about to face, right?
No, and Matt Laporta may be the best all-around complete tight end in the game. For the way he allows him to do things in the run game because of his blocking.
I ain't arguing that.
Yeah. So, they're absolutely loaded. You could say that.
Right.
It's two elite offenses. The Lions, the thing about the Lions is that their mentality is to put the pedal to the metal and floor it. They know they got to put up 35 points.
They only know one gear.
Yes. And it's full throttle, especially with the way the defense has been decimated by injuries. They know they're going to outscore their defense. Mm-hmm. And they're ready. And those are the dangerous teams that have, this is how we win. We know this is our best way to win, and we've just been executing all year.
Okay.
With this vibe.
So the next layer of it is, as I shared with Nordo and your cohort Ben Gessling, who covers the team in fantastic fashion. He follows you. I'm sharing with him too. The San Francisco 49ers behind 3 replacement offensive linemen and a left tackle who was on the Arizona Cardinals about 2 weeks, about like a month and change ago or whatever.
Used 3 left tackles in the last 6 weeks.
There we go.
Yeah.
That group went for nearly 500 on that Lions defense. Now, we understand Aleem McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson, Alex Anzalone, Carlton Davis, Khalil Dorsey. We understand that they've had some injuries that have played into this situation. Well, the Vikings come into the game with at least 11. Then we can start getting into the rotation guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they come into it pretty much with exactly the preferred defense they would want to have healthy at this time of the year.
I see where you're at with this. Yeah.
Okay, so it is not unfair or homeristic to say the Vikings have the better of the two defenses in this game, correct?
Paul, that's not even close.
Well, it has to make a difference.
It's a top 5 defense.
Right, and you come for the Sunday Night Football offense.
Yep.
You come for the 40-30. You come for Goff and his 14-16 and 14 touchdowns and 1 pick the last 4. You come for Sam the Man on the Fan, the Reclamation Project. Here's JJ, 175-2. You come for all of that, but you leave talking about the team that was fortunate enough to have its defense healthy at the right time, and that was the decider in the game. That has to be the A topic.
If a decimated 49ers offense can put up the numbers it did against that Lions defense, what do you expect the Vikings to do on Sunday?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what the expectation is, because sometimes things don't live up to expectations. And yeah. I mean, of course, I expect the Vikings to amass a large amount of yardage, specifically in the passing game. I mean, it's Guerrero and what they were running last night. Aaron Jones with the quad. Cam Akers, silky smooth, got a little Le'Veon Bell to him, the way he slow rolls things, and then you got Ty Chandler. I understand that. It's a pass-first team, and a combo of Purdy and Dobbs went for 400 passing yards last night. Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings, they combined for more than 200 yards. Jefferson and Addison ain't Pearsall and Jennings.
No, they're not. And you throw in KOC, the mastermind. He's probably going to fake a couple jet sweeps, have guys running behind the quarterback, trying to get that second line of the Lions defense, get the eyes in the backfield,
right,
so they can get caught watching the paint dry, and then there's all kinds of mayhem happening behind them.
Right.
So
like if you're a member of the Vikings defense, if you're Brian Flores, if you're a defensive coach, It's a pride check here. There's a pride check here that's taking place on several levels in this game for the Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, Ben Johnson runs tricks. I've never talked to Kevin O'Connell about Ben Johnson and his tricks. He does them every single game. They used 7 offensive linemen last night on a couple of plays, and they ran behind it. So you got the regular 5. Then you got this rookie Christian Mahogany I'd never heard of. He's next to Taylor Decker. Mm-hmm. Well, their regular beefeater 70, Dan Skipper, he's next to him. And they run behind it, and of course it works. So he's coming up with something new all the time.
Skipper coming in as tackle eligible a few times.
Yes, yep. That's his bit. But then they put this Boston College rookie. They went with 7 offensive linemen. I can't say I've ever seen that in my life. And it worked. All right, so they got tricks. I wonder, when it comes to discretion being the better part of valor, O'Connell has a bevy of tricks. They just don't run them frequently. But if you're a defensive coach for this team, you can't get persnickety and or overly frustrated if they run up and down the field and get some points, because they're going to run up and down the field and get some points. There has to be 2, 3, or 4 possessions in this bad boy where you stopped them and you got points out of it. And that can be the difference. You come for the offense, you leave talking about the defense.
I have to also go back and look at the box score from the first meeting between these teams here at the bank to see how they trend. I just remember the late penalty that kept KOC from letting Reichert attempt a 57.
Maybe, I can't remember.
Yard field goal, remember that? That was a bit because someone false started or something?
Their kicker, Bates, walked off on us from 44. It was a game. While calling it, I felt the Lions were the right side every step of the way. I mean, it was a close game, but the Vikings desperately needed the Ivan Pace Jr. scoop and score, and they took the lead, and it was kind of like, damn, man, we got the lead. Then there was no scoring for like 8.5 minutes. That's a part of the game that I got a deep dive right there. Like, what happened at that stage of the game to slow things down? Then Bates walked off on us, though.
But that was right when the legend of Sam Darnold was beginning, because he stood toe-to-toe with Goff on that field that day, if I'm not mistaken. So...
that was the key to that, guys, and I apologize for clomping courtesy of St. Louis Park.
Give me a sounder. If I missed it, I apologize.
But the key to that early one was really the fact that the Vikings did what they had done earlier in the year. They staked that 10-point lead, but specifically in that second quarter, it was touchdown. Sam throws a pick. It was a touchdown. They dropped 3 scores on us in the second quarter, and it just felt like then it was quicksand. So I'm totally with Lavelle in terms of this was a game in which you can look back and say Sam Darnold did indeed overall stand toe-to-toe with Goff. But this was also kind of one of those games out of the flow of how our defense and offense have really worked for the totality. Staking leads, finding ways to run, at least in the first half, getting that clutch drive late. We got in too much of a Ben Johnson dug hole in the second quarter to come back.
Yeah, that's the thing you gotta watch out for. The Lions' fast break offense, because it can go touchdown, turnover, touchdown on you pretty quick and can flip the score on you. That's the dangerous thing about this squad. Playing at home, too, with a lot of momentum. Lions fans traveled well yesterday, by the way. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping to see Viking fans travel well to Motor City, which is it's a sneaky, not bad road trip. Detroit has improved as a city. There's stuff to do downtown. There's cigar lounges who want to get your puff on. And there's great restaurants there. And the City Center Marriott is still a great place to stay at. So I expect a legion of purple-clad Viking fans to be at Ford Field on Sunday for the throwdown.
I wonder if the time change to the game impacted that. I wonder if it has greatly impacted it in that if it was an earlier game or even an afternoon game.
Could we go fly out afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, Detroit is a major Delta hub, but I mean, it's a major hub for a lot of airlines, so I don't think you're going to be getting out at 11:15, or no, what would be midnight-ish Eastern time, you know? So I wonder if the time change impacted the amount of Vikings fans who are able to go to this game with Billy and Johnny and Christy and Susie going to school the next day.
Possible. It could also be possible that people are still on holiday vacation and may say, if the Vikings win this game, we're probably not going to work on Monday anyway. So let's just go to the game.
Are you going to the game to write?
I am not. We make our travel schedules out before first week of the opening kick. Mm-hmm. So it was not scheduled for me to be there this week.
How about this? Yeah, but the Wolves play the Pistons the night before.
In Detroit?
At Detroit. How sweet is that?
Wow.
Now they got OKC tonight and they got Boston on Thursday, but then they got Cade Cunningham and his group on Saturday night at the Motor City. And I'm going to try to attend that game.
I was seeing the team finally turning the corner a little bit. There's some signs there that they've worked out the new bits a little bit more. Dante DiVincenzo is getting 30-plus minutes a game now. Mm-hmm. Putting Julius Randle with Nas and Nah. And a couple other, and Dante on one other sub. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he could be the point forward in that arrangement, and he could show off a little more playmaking and be himself and drive downward to the basket like he likes to do. Finchie's finally figuring out ways where these guys could be the best versions of themselves.
They're at OKC tonight.
Oh, that's going to
rubber meets road on this 3-game winning streak. Back to the flagship, and here's the con.
Yeah, I wanted to ask if you guys had seen this at all, whether it was Fan Line on Sunday following the border battle, or even this morning and yesterday just via the text line and a bit on social media. It's kind of the sentiment that Lions fans, I got this from Tim. I see an unearned arrogance from Detroit and in reference to the fans. And I really haven't noticed this, but I see it a lot. Kind of the idea they forget that they were awful for 25 years and then they finally win the division. And it's like there's some sort of dynastic, I guess that they're on the verge of being this historical monument of NFL football. And I just haven't seen that from Kitties fans. I like talking trash because it's a game week, but the unearned arrogance of Detroit. Do you feel that vibe at all?
The only example I would have would be before that Green Bay Packers game, when Nordo's cousin is holding the flag on the field.
Celebrating America.
Celebrating America with the Star-Spangled Banner. May God rest the soul of Francis Scott Key. And the guy wearing the Lions jersey starts talking trash to Packers players.
Yeah.
The players, right? Well, then the coach saw it and he's like, "What's your guy doing?" And then LaFleur throws a tantrum and has to be restrained. That's about my only example of like an overly haughty, overly braggadocious Lions fan.
If you remember that moment, too, the Lions fan, once he got LaFleur involved, he started trying to pump up the crowd. I got him fired up. Let's go.
He was doing throat slash signs to Rashawn Gary.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Well, you know who he is now? He's a man without a ticket because they pulled a season ticket after that.
I know.
So, but I think
he cried.
I think there's probably some we're not used to winning, so we don't know how to control ourselves bit that's going on a little bit with the Lions.
Yeah.
Because they've been bad for a long time. I mean, I'm in hell with my Bears right now, but the Lions have been absolutely horrific for a number of years until this new regime came in and started hitting on all these draft picks, and Campbell started going for 18 times a game. So they're dealing with prosperity for the first time, so we have to let some things slide. Just don't slash the opposing team's player.
Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs has been a menace to the Minnesota Vikings, along with a lot of other teams. But that second quarter that Nordo talked about, where they outscored the Vikings 21-0, I think Gibbs might have had 2 touchdowns in that quarter.
Right.
And he had a 45-yard rushing touchdown. 45 yards is the longest run the Vikings have given up this year. And, of course, it was Jahmyr Gibbs. In fact, the last time the Vikings gave up a 50-yard or longer run,
Khalil Herbert.
Well, the guy who did it is on our team, Aaron Jones.
Okay.
It was December of 2019 when he played for Green Bay, and I think it was late in the game. It might have been a game winner, but he ran in from far out to score a touchdown. Now they're no David Montgomery. You can say no Montgomery, no problem, because you got Gibbs. In a game like this, they need to miss David Montgomery in a game like this. Again, the Vikings defense is at full strength, and Detroit's, of course, is not. Detroit's offense is the highest scoring offense, the most methodically sound offense when it comes to dinking and dunking and running and yards after catch and the tricks in the National Football League. I'm telling you, the A topic in this game has to be the Minnesota Vikings defense and what it does in certain patches, and then the offense. If they preach collaboration like they do around here, they preach collaboration a lot. Culture a lot, collaboration a lot. The collaborative nature of the Vikings defense and offense meshing here, it has to be 8 to 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10. Because if you get a stop and you get some momentum on your side, you got to strike and score on them Kitties.
Collaboration, complementary football, cooperation, coordination, whatever you want to call it. Yes, I think that is a factor. The backup for the Lions?
Craig Reynolds.
He's been with them a few years. He's functional, but he's no David Montgomery.
Ain't nobody tripping on Craig Reynolds.
And they lost something from a leadership standpoint too, with Montgomery not being on the field there. But the thing about the Lions running game too, man, because I was watching Gibbs' touchdown run. Amon-Ra St. Brown blocks his ass off.
Yeah, he's terrific.
Laporta blocks his ass off. I mean, there was a seal here and there was a seal there, and he was gone.
And Tim Patrick, where the skeletal remains thereof, that's what he does. Yeah. He's a big physical guy, man. I mean, they've crafted these things very, very nicely to complement what they do. Lavelle Neal III, columnist for the Star Tribune, courtesy of Allery's Bar and Barbecue, home to free parking and wild shuttles. He's part of the 9 to noon cast, the show's courtesy of Soukup and Soukup.com. Yours truly, Paul Allen, at the Minnesota Vikings practice facility in Eagan, awaiting the arrival of Kevin O'Connell an hour and change from now for our weekly chat. We'll be right back.
Head over to NFLShop.com for the largest collection of officially licensed gear from all your favorite brands. NFL Shop is your ultimate gifting destination for jerseys, t-shirts, headwear, and more. Take your game day style to the next level with the best selection of NFL gear anywhere. Show off your team pride this holiday season with styles fit for the whole family. To shop now, go to NFLShop.com.
The Minnesota Vikings opened 10-0 on the Detroit Lions in the first quarter, Week 7 at U.S. Bank Stadium. I mean, it's it's such a dichotomy of why the Detroit Lions can be so potent. You know, the Lions, the Vikings win the toss, Lions get the ball. Touchback. So the Detroit starts at its 30. Montgomery runs for 3. Then Montgomery runs for 4. Then Van Ginkel sacks Goff. All right. So now you got a 3rd and 26, and they get 19 on a short pass to David Montgomery. But they had to do something, or attempted to do something right after that. They didn't do one time last night. Trot the punter on the field. The Lions did not punt one time last night. I mean, punter didn't even, Jack Fox, Fact Jocks didn't even see the field. So here's what the Lions do. They're back at their 37. Their personal protector, the up back guy, is named Jacques Reeves-Maybin. And bonjour. They give him a lot of responsibility with their special teams, from what I understand. In fact, if he sees what he likes, not the special teams coordinator, Reeves-Maybin can change the call. Well, he opted to change the chat a little bit. They're back at their own 37. They're going to direct snap to him. They're going to fake a punt. They got a yard, and it didn't work. All right? U.S. Bank Stadium, go crazy. So the Vikings are now at the Lions' 34. 2 plays later, Aaron Jones runs in from 34. All right? Vikings kick it. They're leading 7-0. Lions have the ball for a couple of plays. Then Ivan Pace Jr. sacks Jared Goff.
Okay.
They bring their punter back into the mix, and this time he actually punts. Then the Vikings go down and get a 57-yard field goal by Will Reichert.
Right.
So they're leading 10-0. Now, that right there, okay, so you faked a punt in your territory. It didn't work. And after it, you gave up a touchdown. Then you couldn't score, and you took your second sack in the first quarter for a quarterback who doesn't get sacked a ton. And now you're down 10-0, and they ain't tripping. They find a way to win the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's just who they are.
I know. I mean, look at that box score. It was 10-0, and then fast break offense. Lions go 21 points in the second quarter.
Wow.
21.
I know.
Gibbs, St. Brown, Gibbs.
Now, you, Lavelle, columnist for the Star Tribune,
yes.
at Lavelle Neal, via Twitter, courtesy of Valerie's Bar and Barbecue, home of free parking and wild shuttles. What did you pen last week about Sam Darnold?
Oh, I think Sam has made an incredible transformation from being just a placeholder for the future of the position, J.J. McCarthy, to being a great comeback turnaround story, to now building a legend. Because now, what he did in Seattle, taking that big hit and then throwing that dime to Jefferson, game winning in a very hostile environment, one of the more hostile environments in the NFL. That's just putting together a storybook season here. And that's where we're at with Sam now, in terms of how far he's come from and how little the signing of Sam Darnold was taken, how lightly it was taken when it happened here, to now it's like, we can't let him leave. We've got to give him money. We got to bring him back next year. It's been incredible to see the steps to go from the day he was signed to where he's at right now, playing like a franchise quarterback.
You mentioned the word incredible. You are familiar with a Mike Florio from ProFootballTalk.com.
Yes, I am.
And I understand you heard him this morning on a Chicago radio station, right? Yeah, what'd he share?
Well, I was driving here listening. Well, he said,
because I got something incredible for you.
The Bears should just give a blank check to Ben Johnson and just have him come over. And this is 2 weeks after Florio was like, the Bears should call the 49ers and just ask whatever it takes to get Kyle Shanahan. I'm like, okay, which one is it, Mike? Can you just stick with one thought here? You're all over the place with this. And as much as I like the idea of Ben Johnson being a head coach, we got to go through the process, man. I can't forget the last time the Bears hired a coach. Poles was on the job for 3 days, and he hired Eberflus. Now, remember, the overlying factor on this is that Bill Polian was the advisor to the Bears during this whole coaching GM search. What team did Polian work for?
Indy.
And where did Eberflus come from?
Indy.
Thank you.
Right.
All right. I want something more thorough.
Oh, wow.
And I
didn't realize that.
Yeah. I want something more thorough because Kwesi took 3 weeks to hire KLC. Rest is history.
Right.
All right. I want something more thorough. Bring in Ben Johnson. Talk to him. I got to know Prove to me that you can also coach defense, an entire locker room of men. Who's going to be in your coaching staff? Can you bring in Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator? I got to know what the assistant coaching staff is. Is it going to be collaborative, or is it going to be more of a vertical structure with you?
Your defensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, is hired. I would bet will be somebody nobody has ever heard of currently on the Detroit Lions staff. Like some
AG.
You just can't take a. Well, I mean, if Aaron Glenn
he's going to get interviews.
It is not listed now. Say he doesn't get a head coaching job. If he's not listed as assistant head coach or like that with defensive coordinator, you can't take people and put them in the same spot. You got to elevate them.
Right.
Thus, all these associate head coach titles and assistant head coach and stuff like that. I don't envision that happening. I think there's somebody on that staff nobody's ever heard of who might have some Ben Johnson defensive wherewithal to them, despite what people have seen with the defensive late, but they're down a lot of guys. That's what I think Ben would do.
Well, I'm impressed with the guy. I've listened to some of his press conferences. He's very articulate. Sounds sincere. Like KOC, sounds authentic.
He's very emotional.
Yeah.
It's like Matt LaFleur's been throwing more tantrums this year than I can remember. Ben Johnson, if you watch him after some of these scores, when he's looking to the other side of the field with the, not like this, but take that, but he's like, what? He's got a little of that to him.
He did it yesterday after the
yes, I know.
Yeah.
That's the bit, so leading man, crafting the next great arrow route and or hook and ladder is one thing. Leading man over the totality of an organized team activity through the end of a season, that's a different thing.
Right.
It's not necessarily for everybody. But I mentioned the word incredible and Mike Florio. Yesterday, 9 to noon, Mike Florio was on because we have a best of tomorrow. So I asked him to come on Monday. And during the course of our conversation...
Bring up Adam Schefter.
No, okay. Because I ran out of time.
Okay.
During the course of the conversation, Mike Florio not only predicted, and he does not make predictions too often like on games. Like I ain't going to spot up on a Mike Florio prediction, and he doesn't cast his gaze too far ahead. He's calculated that way, barrister raised. He not only predicted the Vikings are going to win Sunday night, he says, when he says this is the year, he didn't say they're going to win the Super Bowl. He said the Vikings are going to get to the Super Bowl.
Okay, wait a minute.
Florio said that 9 to noon. Florio, 9 to noon.
Wait a minute. How did you take that? Because he's usually Mr. Downer.
Nordo and I looked at each other, started looking around the room and stuff like, hey, where'd that stray come from? I can't believe he said that.
Who's the imposter I'm talking to right now? My goodness.
But this is just a couple of months removed where you tell it like it is guy is like, yeah, they're winning games, but it's so boring. And Jacksonville and Tennessee is so boring.
I'm sorry. Teams with great defenses aren't boring to me. That's all I've had to see watching my history as a Bears fan. So.
Okay. Well, listen to what you just said.
Yeah.
Teams with great defenses. Okay. Not everybody will qualify this Vikings defense as a great defense against the run, 80 whatever per. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. But Gibbs got you for 45 and a touchdown when you played them. And they want to give up large chunks of passing yards in games, specifically in the second half.
How many yards did Jordan Love have at halftime last week?
Felt like a 61 piece.
How about that? Okay. No.
Well, his yards per attempt was 3.4.
It's an elite defense. All right.
Yeah.
I love it when the other team has trouble moving the ball against you. So that is what the Vikings can hang their hat on, and they can hang the hat, take that hat, put it on their head, and travel down to Mercedes-Benz Superdome in February.
The mission is Mardi Gras.
I'll take it another step. I just saw a headline. I didn't get a chance to read the story. Chiefs fans finding exorbitant prices for airline tickets to New Orleans.
Wow.
So, Viking fans, you may want to do a little preemptive shopping.
You price gouging bastards. All right. For you, Larry, your brother, Leslie, your sister, and the rest of your covenant, God bless all of you, and a very happy new year, okay?
Same to you and your fabulous family as well.
Thank you.
Nordos, too.
Lavelle Neal and Kara Savages, too. Lavelle Neal III, columnist for the Star Tribune, each and every Tuesday, 9 to noon, courtesy of Allery's Bar and Barbecue, home to free parking and Wild shuttles. And the Wild have a game tonight against Nashville around 7 o'clock, so you can get a free Wild shuttle from Allery's Bar and Barbecue. Scribe Ben Gessling, who covers the Vikings for the Star Tribune, joins 9 to noon next.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
after Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music.
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
Hey, Meta, call Eva.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.